Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Onchain Summer Stories, number 9. I'm your host, Jesse Pollock. Super excited to be here and to be joined by Chris Cerisi, who's the co-founder of LiquidX Studio, that is now the shepherd and steward of Pixelmon. Pixelmon, something that a lot of folks have heard about. So really excited to have Chris here to talk about what's going on with Pixelmon today and what they're bringing to Onchain Summer. Chris, welcome.
Hi, Jesse. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, really glad you're here. And one note for video watchers, for stream watchers, is this is actually a pre-recorded conversation. We are here the night before Pixelmon Day because Chris is in Singapore, I'm in Baltimore. The timing is hard, and we wanted to make sure we had a great conversation when both of us were in a pretty awake period. Chris, how's your day been so far? I guess it's just getting started.
Yeah, it's just getting started. I woke up about half an hour ago. Gave my kid a hug in the morning, and then now I'm here. Yeah. So thanks so much for making the concession this time. Otherwise, I'll be up at I think 1 a.m. So it's nice to be fully awake for this.
Well, glad to be flexible, and one of the things I love about what we're building on chain with Onchain Summer and kind of everything on chain is that it's global. People from all over the world are coming together to create this new next generation of the internet, and sometimes that requires being a little bit flexible. And so, it's 8:12 p.m. here, my time, early morning your time. We're making it happen. Awesome. Well, I'd love to just start. Tell me a little bit about what is Pixelmon and what have you all been building?
So Pixelmon is essentially a gaming first IP studio. So what we are building is IP around the 68 monsters that we have created in Terra Nova, which is the universe that Pixelmon is in. So Terra Nova is set up in a post-apocalyptic world where humans live separated into 4 tribes. So we have Earth, Air, Earth, Wind, Water, and Fire. Right? And so the creatures in that universe in Terra Nova are also separated into those 4 tribes, and there are 68 of them in total, and each of them can evolve twice, some 4 times. So that's the setting, and what we are doing for now is to create 2 mobile games that will be launched towards the second half of next year. The first one is a brawler genre game. So imagine Smash Bros, but 3D. So 5 Pixelmon get dropped into an arena, and then they battle it out real time. And then the second one is sort of a mesh between an RPG as well as an auto battler. So if you are familiar with Zelda, the exploration mode of it can be quite similar to Zelda with some small differences. And then when you meet a Pixelmon or an enemy trainer, that's when you transition into an auto battler mode. So similar to Teamfight Tactics, but again with some small changes here and there. And then you alternate between those 2 modes. So those 2 games are mobile optimized, quite targeted in general at mobile players. So that's sort of the flagship games. And of course, the RPG is the one that most people think of when they think about Pixelmon. But we're actually building out an entire IP platform, right? So there's more than 1 game going out. Alongside the 2 flagship games, there'll be multiple casual games that are also released that will be more browser-based. And one of them we'll be doing together with BASE, launching over the next month or so. And then we also have a suite of plans around pushing out the IP through different channels, like animation series, for example.
I love that. And what's the team look like? Are you all based in Singapore? Are you spread around the world? Yeah,
we're quite spread out. So a mix of Asia as well as Europe currently. We've tried to avoid going into one more time zone, so it's Asia and Europe for now, as long as we can help it. We have about 60 people now, 50 to 60, so it's getting quite sizable. Most of the team is dedicated towards the games that we are producing, and then on that side we have pretty senior folks now that have come in from AAA gaming studios. Most of them would have 20 years, 10 to 20 years of experience working for AAA gaming studio in that vertical or function. So they're very effective team leaders. And so a lot of our resources, or most of our resources, are going into those two flagship games. Then we also have smaller teams that look after the Web3 facing products. So some of the browser games that we are producing, as well as making sure we have gamified products for our NFT holders, like the one that we are launching with BASE today.
Awesome. And, I think a lot of people first heard about Pixelmon with Kevin, the original Kevin, a year and a half ago. Tell me a little bit, and maybe tell the listeners and viewers, like, what happened with Kevin originally, and then kind of what's been the journey since then for you and the Pixelmon team.
Yeah, so for those that may not have followed our journey for the last year and a half, essentially Pixelmon started as what I can only say is a failed NFT project in the peak of the bull market with a disastrous art review, right? Was when things started going downhill for the project. Thankfully, the founder, actually contrary to popular belief, he's actually a very honest person, couldn't deliver, but also did not run the project, even though I guess he could have. So he started looking out for new owners for the project. And then that's when myself and my co-founders at LiquidX, including Julio, who is currently the CEO for Pixelmon, got in touch with him. And then over the course of a few weeks, managed to arrange to take over the project as well as its treasury. So since then, we've been quite transparent, I think, about how we have allocated the treasury, and also how we are working very hard every day on hiring the right people as well as developing the two games. So most of that is in our Discord. I think we have regained the trust of the community. But I understand it's not something that the broader Web3 space might know about.
Yeah, well, I love that story. And it was one of the reasons why when we started talking about having Pixelmon be a part of Onchain Summer and, building Pixelmon in general, like when I look at that, I see a story of like resilience, see a story of folks showing up and doing the work. And sometimes like things don't always start off the best. That's just kind of the way things go. But I think what really defines products and defines people and defines the organizations is like, how do people show up on day two? And it sounds both like founder of Pixelmon and the team that kind of stepped in is showing up to do the work and showing up to build a cool product and showing up to figure out how do we make the most of kind of what we started with. So I love that. And tell me a little bit about today's mint. Who was Kevin originally, and who is Kevin today, and how does it show up in the mint?
Yeah. So when we took over Pixelmon, we actually changed the art of every single monster in the collection, except Kevin, because by the time we took over, Kevin was pretty much a global phenomenon on his own. He pretty much still is. So if you look at floor prices, Kevin's floor price has always been independent from the rest of the Pixelmon collection. It's a collection on its own. And he does have a very special part to play in meme culture. I personally love Kevin because I think he represents also the spirit behind which we took over Pixelmon, which was that we very much wanted to be able to prove to the broader crypto space, or even beyond that with the right people in place and the right intentions, you can turn something around. And I think just with similarly to the rest of crypto, right? I think one day we will get to mass adoption, but the starting point of crypto, if we are honest about it, does have a lot of scams and a lot of things that are not too nice about it. But I think we can own that, right? We can own that history. and it's very much part of us and crypto culture, but it doesn't stop us from building something beautiful out of it. So Kevin's not exactly beautiful, but he's super adorable. I think he very much embodies that spirit. And we actually wrote a lore piece for Kevin, which is that he's actually a mariner or a sailor that very long ago got shipwrecked, and then he refused to die and to perish in that shipwreck. And so because of his stubborn willfulness, he transformed into Kevin, the cute zombie, and that's how he survived. So that's Kevin's origin story. I think it's broadly representative of the Pixelmon spirit, also broadly representative of the crypto space in general. So we are celebrating that with today's mint. Essentially, when you mint, you get both a physical Kevin as well as a digital Kevin. The physical Kevin is actually a nano block toy. It's about 10 centimeters in height. So just nice for a table display if you want to look at a cute Kevin every day. And then the digital piece is a Kevin Summer art piece. I think it will be a collection of 3,000. There will be 3 use cases. So one, it does enter you into a raffle where we will pick one of the holders to give out a Pixelmon egg to. So Pixelmon egg is basically an unhatched Pixelmon NFT. There's all Pixelmon NFTs started as an egg. Most of them have been hatched over time. So the ones that are still eggs are quite rare. And then that egg is a lucky draw on its own, because if you get a rare Pixelmon out of it, that's something that a lot of Pixelmon holders currently want. And then the second use case would be basically access to all Pixelmon events, similar to what our Genesis NFT holders have now. And then the last one would be something that we will be pushing out with BASE in a month or so, which essentially will be a casual game on browser. We can't say too much about it now. I think what I can say is that Kevin will be the main character for that casual game. And
ready for Kevin on
BASE. A lot of fun. Yeah.
I love it.
So you'll get special boosts, advantages for that game if you are a Kevin Onchain Summer holder.
Amazing. And if you're looking to do the mint today, you can scan this QR code. It's in the bottom right. That'll take you to onchainsummer.xyz, and you can go from there. And it's pretty epic. It's a little Kevin character. You get a Kevin NFT. You get to be a part of the story of Kevin rising from the ashes of the original Pixelmon launch and turning into something that I think the world loves from a meme perspective, and that I think will be an incredibly cool product and game over the years ahead. So I'm fired up about that. I got mine, or I'm going to get mine tomorrow when we do this. Chris, last question for me before we kind of wrap for today. What do you think about on-chain is valuable to gaming? How are people starting to build more valuable products, more impactful products on-chain in the gaming space?
So I think what's really interesting about using the blockchain in gaming is that it's a fundamentally new form of monetization, right? So the gaming industry has gone through a few transitions when it comes to how they monetize from users. So you and I would have grown up in the era where you pay what looks like quite a bit of money for a game that you can then play forever, right? And then we moved on to the subscription model, where you basically pay a certain amount every month, and that incentivizes the creators to continue pushing out new content. And then recent years, we have gone into the free-to-play model, popularized by Epic Games and Riot, where barrier to entry is very low, but you kind of optimize the gameplay so that you can monetize from your top 5% of spenders. I think having durable assets on chain that pushes us into the next wave of monetization, which is monetizing from transaction fees, right, or royalty fees. So how do you build a game that optimizes for a very vibrant and robust economy, so that you can focus on transaction fees as your monetization stream, right? And a lot of us that grew up in the early Web 2 days, you remember that actually most of the browser-based games that we played then, like Neopets or RuneScape, actually had really, really robust economies, right? And that's what made it fun, right? Your sword on RuneScape didn't look like much on the screen, but it was part of a very, very exciting economy behind that, right? And you spent a lot of time trading and looking for people to buy and sell with. So I think we'll go back to that, but maybe with better graphics, etc. Mainly because things start getting more decentralized, and then maybe you can even have interoperable economies between games where you trade one item for a player's item in a different game that you both are playing. And I think that's very exciting.
Yeah, I love that, and it does kind of feel like over, like in the Web 2 era, the last 10 years, as we've kind of moved into this free-to-play world, like the creativity and diversity of experiences has really like narrowed in. It's like everyone is like doing the same thing, where it's like you do this free thing and then you monetize by like making it so people have to pay to do this like really specific next step, or like get the points that you need in order to unlock something. And I love the way you frame it as like, what this encourages, what Onchain encourages, is it encourages a vibrant economy, which requires diversity, which requires creativity, which requires like realness and substance in a way that I think a free-to-play economy is almost like overly prescriptive, overly planned, overly centralized. And so I totally agree. And I think that what we're going to see next in the world is we're just going to see a whole blossoming of creativity. Where the world figures out how to use on-chain to build incredible new games that are interoperable, that do create these vibrant new economies, and that bring players all around the world into something really special. So everyone, thank you for joining me and Chris. Again, you can scan the QR code to mint your Kevin, get your physical Kevin, participate in the reimagining and celebration of Kevin for all the greatness that he is. And we will be back tomorrow with On-Chain Stories. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everyone.